Hi everyone, this is Brad and this is my review of the new English Sailormoon manga. After years of waiting, Sailormoon fans finally have Sailormoon back in bookstores and it looks pretty good. This new release is based on the Japanese re-release, which features brand new covers, new colour artwork and adjusted interior artwork as well, which was redrawn by Naoko Takeuchi herself. This release is pretty much identical to the Japanese version, though it is worth mentioning that it is obviously larger than the original release. Don't worry about this though, as pretty much all English language releases of manga are bigger than the Japanese versions. Kodansha really has done a great job visually with this release, earning it 5 stars for presentation. This first volume of the Sailormoon manga features the first story arc of the series with Sailor Moon, Sailor Mercury, Sailor Mars, Sailor Jupiter, and Sailor V to a point being introduced, and follows their battle against Queen Beryl and the Dark Kingdom, which is what it's called in this version. While the writing in this volume is pretty solid, I really can't give it 5 stars for story simply because I've read later volumes and I know how big and how epic the series can be. With that in mind, I'm going to give it 3.5 stars for story. While the presentation is 5 stars and the story is fantastic, unfortunately it's the English adaptation that really lets this volume down. While fans will love the original Japanese names and Tuxedo Mask being called Tuxedo Mask and Sailor Senshi being called Sailor Guardians, that's pretty much as good as it gets in regards to prose with the adaptation. While the story is technically well translated, there's a whole lot of inconsistencies in the book. For example, in the first half, Sailor Moon introduces herself as a soldier of beauty and justice, and then later on she's introducing herself as a soldier of love and justice, both which actually read exactly the same in Japanese, and somehow the translator made a mistake and messed it up. The dialogue is also incredibly awkward to read, and as many fans have stated, it actually reads like a textbook with a lot of characters falling flat. The main character, Usagi herself, actually comes across as kind of a posh, uppity schoolgirl, instead of the 14-something, clumsy, crybaby schoolgirl that she really is in the original. Some dialogue is so awkwardly written that I had to stop reading it several times and actually wonder if this was written by a native English speaker. The Japanese honorifics, which is a personal peeve of mine, are really lazily left in. As any professional interpreter or translator will tell you, there is no place for Japanese honorifics in a professional, published book, manga, magazine release. Even if you don't mind Japanese honorifics though, there really is no excuse for the laziness of this adaptation. Several phrases and pages just make no sense at all, and a prime example would be Usagi's teacher, whose nickname, Ms. Haruda, makes absolutely no sense at all to the English speaker. Another hilariously bad example of the bad translation is Usagi referring to Motoki as bro. I mean, this wouldn't be bad enough if she was just saying, "Oh, hey bro, how you going?" But instead she actually sees him and refers to him as "it's bro," a completely unnatural English phrase that no one in their right mind would say. The whole book is full of inconsistencies that really detract from the experience. When reading a translated work, you shouldn't be thinking constantly that you're reading a translation of the work, which is what happens to me when I'm reading this volume. You should be reading the book as if you're having the same experience as the original Japanese reader. Unfortunately, this doesn't happen here at all. Unfortunately, this is just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to the adaptation, forcing me to give it a 2.5 stars out of 5. Not happy, Kodansha. While this manga visually looks fantastic, the adaptation really lets it down. The awkward dialogue, the translation mistakes really make it a really uncomfortable read. And even though I'm a huge Sailor Moon fan and I'm super excited to see Sailor Moon back, I won't give it a 5-star rating just because I love Sailor Moon. It really needs to be judged on its own merits. Overall, I will give it a 4 out of 5 stars, mainly because of just how great the volume looks. Let's hope Kodansha picks it up though for future releases, as this really was a bit of a disappointment. For my full review, make sure to check it out on Moonkitty.net.